place where you see good news about something good they're doing, to share that, not only just for the people, but for the police themselves, to help them awaken their own humanity, saying, well, gosh, they're doing that. Maybe these people are not my enemy. Maybe we're all in this together, because that is the truth. And many of the police that are so brutal, many have actually come from war. There's this high percentage of I don't know how high it is, 20% or something. I don't know what the percentage is. I've read it, who are prior soldiers from the Middle East and who were pretty damaged there, and so, I feel like it is an opportunity to actually, as Einstein said, you can't fix a problem on the level of thinking at which it was created. So there's an opportunity to open and expand to understanding our world in a different way, through energy and through prayer and through healing. And I'm not saying to stop protesting, to stop doing that. Everybody has a role, and for many of us, especially as older people, the prayer, holding that prayer and holding that energy is just as important as those that are out there on the front lines. And, of course, praying for them as well. And to just keep going, the other thing I wanted to bring up, and it just came so clear again, was, we are definitely in the dark night of the soul, of our personally and collectively. And I don't know if you've ever gone through a dark night of the soul personally. I have. I'm sure most people have at some point, and it is really hard in the breakdown phase. But ultimately, it changes our lives in ways that make our lives much better and more empowered. And this is where it feels like we are. And Pluto and Saturn, Pluto is god of death. Saturn is lord of karma. They're dancing together. They were conjunct in January, but it started a whole cycle. And you can follow, like I said, the movement of these two planets. And when they show up together, basically shit happens. They were in opposition during 9/11. They were in a square during the Rodney King riots, which I had a wrong date originally, Jennie, and then I found the right date. And you can kind of go through time and see when they are dancing together is, like I said, when stuff happens. But the last time they were together in Capricorn, in a conjunction, was 500 years ago. I think the date was like 1518, 1519, and it was the beginning of the colonization of the Americas. And Saturn being Lord of Karma, we're reaping our karma, okay? And it's like things have to be made right. It's like this cycle is over. The colonization of the Americas and everything that went with that, with the people of color, the indigenous people, everything that happened, that is coming up into our consciousness to be right. And it's like a volcanic, Pluto is often described too as like a volcano. What has been laying down there suddenly erupts. And because it has to. It can't hold the pressure anymore. And I feel like that's where we are. And it is about the resolution of this karma, especially here in the United States. This is our karma. Now, there is karma throughout the world that is happening, but this is our karma because this is the colonization of the United States that started 500 years ago. And these two planets have come back together. And the other thing is on a global level, it is Mother Earth. It is the karma with Mother Earth, and that is even a bigger karma. I mean, they're all tied together. They're just all tied together. So it is like a volcanic eruption, and just really big feeling, big emotion, big things that have been held in for a long, long time, and they can't be held in any longer. And where we go from here with it, of course, I don't know how long the volcano is going to need to erupt. You know, it's just like any volcano. When it erupts initially, it causes great destruction. Then, as it continues to drain, and people start managing it better. So I don't know, but this is where I feel like we are at this moment. And and Pluto is retrograde, and Pluto retrograde is always about dancing with our own shadow. And it's about, and by the way, Capricorn, and as I've talked about it before, Capricorn is related to the institutions and structures that hold our civilization. And so it is about a death and rebirth. It's a dark night of the soul, but a death and rebirth of all of these institutions. But they have to die first, and that is the breakdown, and breakdown can be painful. And in this breakdown, there is decay and corruption is being exposed. And I still see it as both. I mean, I see it, as the protesters and the injustice that could no longer be tolerated. It was like the last straw, and the coronavirus. Both, the coronavirus showing us how we poisoned the world and ourselves. It is kind of like the physical manifestation, whereas the protests are the emotional manifestation of the healing that needs to happen. And it's also on a personal level. When Pluto goes retrograde, it really is, we're dancing with our own shadows. As they say, Mother Earth is moving into higher dimensions, and as she is, we're all going through the eye of the needle, and our own that old baggage has to go, all that old stuff we've been carrying around, and she is like just getting rid of it, and so it's coming to the surface because we got to deal with it, we got to release it. And so I know I've certainly been faced with my own shadow a lot, and I'm going to say it's a big teaching that has come to me, and I feel like it's very appropriate in this Sagittarius lunar eclipse, is that if you have a choice between being right and kind, it's always right to be kind. And, that's just because the truth is we don't know the truth. We really don't know what's going on. We're getting pieces of it. There is no one absolute truth because the truth is being unveiled, and we don't know a lot of it. A lot of things we feel in our heart that we know to be true, but yet the truth is so much bigger than the pieces that we carry, and it's being it's unfolding. Okay, and then just a couple more things I want to say about this as well is that even though we're in the breakdown, it is really fertile ground for the creation of the new. And so that Neptune in Pisces is also showing us that, it is time to dream a new dream. The indigenous elders say that we have been dreaming the wrong dream. And, and so it's time to think big. It's time to believe in the impossible. Always hold that place for the miraculous because spirit is there. We're not alone. And I was listening to someone, I think it was Michael Mead, and he was saying, that, as we're creating our new world, because where we focus our energy is what we create, because the old is breaking down. I mean, it is, and we can't stop it. It's breaking down. And it's going to do what it's going to do. And some of us just simply have to move our attention to the creation of the new and do the dreaming, do the planning. And it was like, I think, and I've shared this before, this one protester, I heard him say why I stopped protesting and built a garden and created a garden. And I think ultimately that's what's going to happen. There's this big explosion, and it's going to keep going. And the direction also needs to shift to where are we going and what do we want to create, because the old is breaking down. Oh, and the other piece I forgot, which I really have to say, is that this Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction is also in a square to Eris. And Eris is she's a dwarf planet that was discovered sometime within the last 15 years, and she's just come on really strong. And she's the feminine warrior. And the feminine warrior has not had a seat at the table for like 5,000 years. And when you don't have a seat at the table, you do cause a lot of discord. She's called the goddess of discord. But that's why I think she has discord. It's because she hasn't had a voice. And the women are leading. And it just almost makes me tear up. And I want to share just 2 stories about the women that are leading. And back in 2012, Grandmother Flor de Mayo, I don't know if you are familiar who she is, but she's one of the grandmothers in the International Council of the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, and they were part of my spiritual community. And there was a ceremony held on December 21st, 2012, where the Mayan elders, who were the men, and I think his name was Don Alessandro or something. I'd certainly heard of him a lot. I mean, I think he has since died. But they carried the staff of power, and they said they'd been carrying it for the last 5,000 years. Excuse me. But that it was time to pass it to the women. The Mother Earth was saying it's time for the women to lead. And for the women to lead and the men to be their protectors. And they asked that this ceremony be shared and that it be passed out among everyone so that the women would have this staff of power. And, of course, in Standing Rock, it was the women who led. It was the women that were the ones on the front lines talking to the police officers and going up and saying, we pray for you, we pray for your family, we pray that your family has clean drinking water and good food, and just like we pray that our families have this. And they really did have an impact in lots of ways. And in the current protest, so many women are leading. And I saw a picture, and it just really touched me, and it was of white women, and they were forming a barrier in front of their black brothers and sisters. And someone said, this is love. They forming a barrier. This is what white privilege is. This is what you do with white privilege, and this is love. And so for those that are the allies, this is a way to it just really moved me in a big way. And it was women. And so the women are leading now. And I think this is really, really important. Let's see, there's one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, those 2 things, right. All right, and so just, we're just in these times of great change, and then the last big message is just simply from Mother Earth, being grounded, being aligned with her energy. You may have heard of this. I've just recently heard about it. It's something called earthing. I am out on the ground in my bare feet as much as possible. This is what, they're saying that there are ions in the earth that ground us and that connect us to Mother Earth and heal us and heal our electrical field when we put our bare feet on the earth. And there's also things called grounding pads, which, we have AC, DC electricity. We have an alternating current. And that actually messes up our electrical field because Mother Earth's electrical field and our electrical field run in the same direction. It is the alternating current that really messes things up, although it gives us more electricity to work with. And so a guy developed these pads that are one way, and you can sleep. There's sleeping ones you put your feet on. I have one that I'm using now as a mouse pad, and it has really, I started having some carpal tunnel, and it really helped my carpal tunnel, and I could feel the electrical changes in my hand. So what I'm really saying is that is the other way to move through this energy. One is to gather together in groups to pray, to heal, to keep the vibration, to send healing energy throughout the world and know that it is traveling in the field. And 2 is to stay grounded with Mother Earth and align our energy with her and to hold your seat as the storm swirls, because the storm is not going to be over anytime soon. We have started We have started the great turning, and we are moving, and this is the first phase of it. So anyway, that's what I see. That's a lot.
Very good. I got an echo. I'm going to hand it over to Sonya.
Okay.